Brandon, thank you very much. Critical race theory, it's a concept that has become widely controversial across the nation after the death of George Floyd in 2020 and the push to make sure certain history is taught in schools. 23 ABC's Brianna Willis joins us live in studio to explain this theory and the debate behind it. Brianna.
Mark, take a look at this chart. It shows the legal status of critical race theory, or CRT, across the nation. As you can see in light blue, it shows the states that have banned critical race theory. In dark blue, it's 16 states which have banned it in progress. And now, for no restrictions, it's 28 states, including here in California. But this is not stopping schools from deciding where they stand. In 2021, the Kern High School District announced it will not be teaching CRT in their ethnic studies course. But those I spoke with today say while they believe CRT is better taught in higher education, there's no escaping history.
Here's the reality. History is history. What happened, happens. So, to say that you can't talk about it or not bring it up, I think that's a little bit too intrusive on control.
Critical race theory. It's a term that was coined back in the 1970s and 80s, but started to become more controversial in 2020.
Critical race theory really didn't become a political hot-button issue in this country until Donald Trump issued a sort of executive memo trying to oust so-called CRT within, public school systems and also the federal government in terms of trainings in the aftermath of the death of George Floyd.
Professor of history at Bakersfield College, Oliver Rosales says it's a legal term that came from the intersection of race and the law.
Critical race theory is about foregrounding the role of systems of oppression as they exist in American institutions, and in particularly the way that people of color, African Americans in particular, have experienced systems of oppression over the long, 200-300 years of the history of this country.
And now that it has become a source of controversy, being banned in multiple states with more expected to join them, Education Week says, quote, critics charge that the theory leads to negative dynamics, such as a focus on group identity over universal shared traits, divides people into oppressed and oppressor groups, and urges intolerance, end quote. Director of Student Access and Support at CSUB, Darius Riggins, says he understands why CRT is not taught in grade school.
Critical race theory is not taught K through 12. That is taught in graduate level type of courses. And to let you know, the first time I even coined the concept of critical race theory and read the book was while I was taking a doctorate level course here in the city of California State University, Bakersfield.
For both Rosales and Riggins, it's not about separating one group's history from the other. It's about all of history.
If I were to go back 50 or 100 years ago to see how African Americans or Native Americans were discussed in American curriculum, a lot of people would be disgusted by the stereotypes about black people or indigenous peoples. So curriculum itself changes over time. And again, I don't see any difference. Chicano history, black history is American history. And folks who want to separate that, I don't think really have a good understanding of what history actually is.
It's more about exposing and allowing everyone to understand this is what happened, these were the situations, here's what we learned from that. And so I don't think it's so much a matter of trying to suggest, oh, well, this is critical race theory. I think it's a matter of, okay, did this happen? If it happens to fit within the context of critical race theory and that's how it can be explained, okay, but not necessarily.
Riggins also says it's important to understand a theory can be accepted or not accepted, and that is what is taking place right now. And continuing this conversation, BC's Social Justice Institute is also hosting a webinar about Allensworth, Black history, and reparations next Monday. We'll have more information on our website, turnto23.com. In studio, Brianna Willis, 23 ABC News, connecting you.